How's it going, everybody? Thought I'd make a video to talk about something I thought was um, a big development for me since starting a Pokemon business, which really had to do with the interactions and the attention that you get um, as either being a rip and shipper or making content and that sort of thing, and what to kind of be prepared for, right? Wasn't something I had really contemplated a whole lot. I'd watched some content about starting a business or starting a Pokemon business and how important it is to make content, right, so that you can create those connections, right? At least put yourself out there so people actually get to know who you are, kind of understand what you're about, and then that helps kind of build a relationship, a parasocial relationship, and can help with the business aspect, right? In certain businesses where you have a lot of in-person interactions, in like a brick and mortar store, that part is kind of removed when you have an online business. So um, you get a lot of that interaction through the social media. I do lives, so on TikTok and YouTube, you get people popping in with comments and that kind of stuff while they're viewing. They're not all positive, right? So I think one of the big things um, to those out there, if you are considering starting a business, even maybe it's not even Pokemon related, it is something to be aware of. But I would say you should not let it deter you, right? It's something to be aware of, and you have to prepare for, right? You got to learn to kind of uh, you know, toughen up from a standpoint of, letting some stuff just roll off your back. Comments, in lives, I get people always coming in, popping in, saying scalper and all this kind of stuff and talking all crazy. And I mean, it's not even unique, you know what I mean? So, like, it's not clever. Nobody's out here doing anything clever. And then when you call them out for it and just being like, look, you're not funny, this isn't anything new. Like, you just saw somebody that maybe you saw one of my videos or something on TikTok and then saw that I'm live and decided to pop in, and you think, you get some attention for just popping in and uh, being disrespectful. So, that stuff's always going to happen on social media. And, I get people commenting on one of the videos that got a lot of views, way more than I anticipated. I got to be honest, I hate the video. I hate watching it of myself. Um, but it's important to put yourself out there. And, a lot of people seem to resonate or, and can relate to the message, the point of the video. But then you have a lot of people out there that like to comment that literally have nothing else better to do than to try to troll and just make rude comments and do all that kind of stuff, right? That's just the internet. You got a lot of keyboard warriors, as I like to call them, out there. People feel so comfortable when they're behind a screen and a keyboard or, their phone, whatever it might be, and they just type up whatever they want, post it there, no consequences, and then they think, worst thing happens, you come back at them, and then they try to do something else. And usually all they end up doing is just trying to insult you. Like, there's no, they have no legitimate comebacks for why they are like calling you a scalper or, um, you know, trying to troll you on something else. And it's just like, so most of the time I try not to even engage with them on that kind of stuff. Them leaving comments and that kind of thing, hey, helps me out from the perspective of engagement, and I'll take it. People commenting and all that kind of stuff probably helped it get to the point that it did, which I never anticipated it would. Um, Again, like I said, I am not a fan of it. I really don't like um, I don't like how I sound and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's just somebody um, that feels self conscious about themselves, kind of thing. I put it out there on a whim, and eventually somehow it kept getting picked up in like the algorithm or something, and then it became something more. But I would catch myself seeing these comments pop in, especially they would come in for a while after I would be live streaming. um, and they wouldn't come into the chat, right? But people were leaving comments on the video. And so I close out of the live stream, and then I see I have a bunch of notifications, and I'm looking at it and I'm just like, man, it's kind of crazy. These people are out there that can just be rude and disrespectful and all that kind of stuff without ever having met you or anything like that. And then on top of it, like, when you're the one making the content and you're the one putting yourself out there, and then these people who literally have no profile picture, or hide behind um, some animated picture or something like that, or have a picture but it's not even of themselves, it's of like a character or something like that, and then they think that they have the power to really mess with you, which is not the case. But again, I'll take all the interaction, I'll take the engagement that I can get. um that's kind of part of the game, especially being an online shop, is that you got to get out in front of more people. That's how you get more attention on your business and that kind of thing. And so I guess sort of like, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Well, I guess there's no such thing as bad attention, right, when it comes to social media. Um, but something to be aware of if you're looking to start a business, particularly Pokemon, especially in the current climate, that people are going to be out there because they're frustrated with how things are, the lack of accessibility to product at MSRP pricing and all that kind of stuff. People automatically will roll in and just be like, "Oh, you're a scalper." You're like, "Scalper, get out of here," and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's so basic and not even close to being unique. So I don't know why people even bother doing it, because usually I kind of just, especially if they come into the chat while I'm live, like I just troll them back. Um, it's really not that hard, but I'll at least go for something specific that's unique to them instead of just saying a generic insult, right? So, like I said, something to be aware of. Again, I don't think it's worth not doing or not starting a business. Do your thing. There will be people out there that will continue to support you. You will find like your niche, your corner of the community where people relate to you and appreciate your message and will support you. And I'm fortunate that I have a consistent group of people. I'm still trying to grow the business, still trying to scale, obviously get more and more people, um, to visit the website and all that. But um, I know I can count on my core group, right? You will find that, and then you know it makes, honestly, that's what makes it worthwhile. You'll find your piece of the community that is supportive of you, especially as long as you're, I think, respectful and kind of transparent about how you go about things. So I'm really appreciative of that core. To you guys out there that do happen to watch this video, you'll know who you are, and I really appreciate you guys and tuning in and hanging out with me during the lives. Um, and it's not just about selling stuff for me. It's really creating those kind of connections through interactions, which obviously you got to take the good with the bad, right? So being aware that there's always going to be people out there to have something negative to say. It's no different than reality. It's just more people are comfortable when there's really no repercussions. There's no consequences for them to type a comment and send it while they're sitting there scrolling and doom scrolling and doing nothing productive on their own. It's typically a projection, right? It's typically a projection of they probably wish they could do something like that, or that they had done something like start a business or do something that makes them feel more fulfilled or have some type of purpose. Instead, they're here just scrolling on TikTok and trying to bring other people down. So don't be like that, guys. Find your people, support them. Um, like I said, I appreciate you guys. You all know who you are. that are out there. I appreciate all you guys who are subscribed here and do watch my content. I know, honestly, am I the biggest flashiest person? No. I'm not over here doing some crazy hype up stuff. I really find a lot of that honestly disingenuous. Um, and nobody's like that 100% of the time, and I know it's part of the show, and I guess it gets the attention of some people, but I believe in just being who you are. Just be who you are. Don't try to act in a way that meets other people's expectations. So appreciate you guys watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I really do appreciate it. Scrowrips.com. Catch us live on YouTube or TikTok. That's going to be Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're not already following us over there, go ahead, check out TikTok, and hit that follow button so you can catch us when we are live there. Or if you don't like TikTok and prefer not to use it, totally fine. Hit us up on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed here. You can catch us when we're live, and you can just make purchases through the shop, scrowrips.com, and we'll open it on the live as well. So appreciate you guys. See you.